I've always been a fan of the Sonic franchise. Though the games haven't been that great in recent years, I keep hoping we'll get just one good game that'll bring some life back into the series, and you can imagine my excitement when I saw Sonic and the Black Knight on the shelf in my local game store. It's a Sonic game that I had never heard of. Is it the hidden gem that I've been looking for this entire time? Let's find out. Sonic and the Black Knight was released in March of 2009 as the second game in the Sonic Storybook series, following Sonic and the Secret Rings. It was directed by Tetsu Katano, who was the lead programmer for the Sonic Adventure games and Sonic Colors. Those games were good, so this game has to be good, right? The game starts off with a magician named Merlina being chased by Mr. Bad Guy McVillain and his forces of evil. Merlina is then cornered and chants a spell that summons Sonic from another world to help her. No, it's a great plot device. It's great. I can tell they spent at least 5 minutes of thinking to come up with it. Anyway, Sonic beats up all the baddies, and Merlina tells us that Mr. Evil Doucheface was actually King Arthur, and then after he was given Excalibur's scabbard, he was corrupted by its powers and started summoning creatures from the underworld and was just being an overall dickwagon. Because they can't defeat Arthur by themselves, Sonic and Merlina go to get the sacred sword Caliburn. Really? Caliburn? They couldn't think of a better name? Just take off the EX and add on an N. Boom, entirely new name. After getting Caliburn, who, by the way, talks, Sonic sets out to defeat King Arthur and all of his lackeys. The writing in this game is a very solid meh. The story is really simple and bland. Now, I usually don't have anything against a simple story, hell, I even prefer them, but when the only motivation of a main character is just, I'm a good guy, so I should help people, it gets really boring. Also, I feel none of the characters have any personality. None of them ever develop in any way, and they're just really there to do the bare minimum of what's required to progress the plot. Plus, the twist in this game is just stupid. I can't say what it is since I don't want to spoil it, but it feels like it was only put in to be a twist, not actually improve the plot in any way. The gameplay is really straightforward in this game. You can run, jump, and slash just as you would expect, but you can also use a lock-on move that slashes through any enemy in your way as long as the red bar is filled. There is also a blocking feature, but you only use it in some of the boss battles, and it isn't even that useful in those cases. My main problem with the gameplay is that it is unbelievably boring. All of the levels in this game are on a set track that you can't really deviate from, so you can beat the majority of the levels just by holding forward and pressing A. I think the biggest issue in the gameplay department is the level design. There were some levels in this game that I genuinely had fun playing, but most of the time they are either mind-numbingly easy or so difficult that I almost demolished my controller in a fit of rage. Now, the difficult levels aren't difficult in a good way where it takes skill to complete. No. These levels are difficult because the controls and layout of the levels make it so you die from some of the most stupid things I've ever seen. Hell, I could probably make an entire video on why I hate a certain level so much. But I'm not gonna. Cause that would be silly. One of the main things that made these levels so difficult to actually get through was the flaw in the jumping. When you press the A button, Sonic will jump into the air, just as you would expect. And if you press A again, Sonic will fly forward and gain a lot of speed. But for some stupid reason, sometimes when you press the A button, instead of flying forward, Sonic will shoot down at the speed of a jet. This is the most frustrating thing when you're trying to jump across a gap, but instead you are plunged into the depths of hell below. I just don't understand why the developers would add a gameplay mechanic that basically breaks parts of the levels.
All I want to do is jump across the ledge. I just want to get from here to here. It's so so easy, but the game just makes it so hard, and I just can't get across, and I just don't understand why we would do this, and it just...
Now, the presentation of this game is by far the best part. Many people aren't a fan of mixing the cartoony look of Sonic with the realistic environment and characters, but I think it worked pretty well here. The enemies matched Sonic's style close enough that he didn't feel out of place, and it kept the whole game looking like one piece. The art for the many different stages of the game is great. I've always loved the medieval style, and the volcano levels are just beautiful to look at. Something else that's very enjoyable about this game is the music. I don't know what to say other than it's your usual rockin' Sonic music, with some slower pieces thrown in. I really don't think there has ever been a Sonic game that I didn't like the soundtrack of. The one place that feels really lazy is the character design. The only original characters created for this game are Merlina, Caliburn, and King Arthur. I get that they wanted to make this game still feel like a Sonic game by adding a few familiar faces, but it just feels too much like a way to avoid having to design a whole new character. Also, the enemies have close to no variance in them, and cause the combat to be really boring, both gameplay-wise and visually. So even though this game had many parts that made me want to punch a hole in my TV, I overall had a decent time with it. And considering I only paid $7 for it, I would say that I got my money's worth. As always, thank you for watching my video. I just wanted to say real quick that I now have a way that you can suggest games for me to make a video on. It's a forum and the link is down in the description, so if you have any games that you would like to see me make a video on, go suggest them down below.